roll call is going around. I'll call the meeting to order. We'll start with invocation by Supervisor Jadowski, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Before my invocation, I'd like to make just a short little comment. In light of current national and worldwide affairs, of which I will not speak, there's no better time than right now to ask the Lord for his protection. With that in mind, my invocation is a powerful prayer conveying a message of divine protection and peace to those who trust and abide in God and his presence. I will read for you Psalm 91. He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, he is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in whom I trust. Surely he will save you from the fowler's snare and from the devil's pestilence. He will cover you with his feathers, and under the wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness will be your shield and rampart. You will not fear the terror of the night, nor the arrow that flies by day, nor the pestilence that stalks in the darkness, nor the plague that destroys midday. 1,000 may fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come near you. You will only observe with your eyes and see the punishment of the wicked. If you make the Most High your dwelling, even the Lord, who is my refuge, then no harm will befall you. No disaster will come near your tent, for he will command his angels concerning you. They will lift you up high in their hands, so you will not strike your foot against the stone. You will tread upon the lion and the cobra. You will trample the great lion and the serpent. Because he loves me, says the Lord, I will rescue him. I will protect him, for he acknowledges my name. He will call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him with long life, and I will satisfy and show him my salvation. And that is the word of the Lord. Amen.
All right, as I said, roll call is going around. We have a quorum present tonight. We'll start with, we have two proclamations. First is a proclamation honoring Whereas, Jim Bry, being born on October 31st, 1966, was a lifelong resident of Manitowoc, Wisconsin. He attended Manitowoc schools, graduating with the Lincoln class of 1985. He furthered his education by graduating from the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point with a degree in political science. After he moved back to Manitowoc, searching for a way to use his knowledge to make his city better. And whereas Jim Bry was active in county government by representing the people of County Board Supervisory District 4 from 1996 to 2025. Jim was proudly elected to serve as the County Board Chair from 2014 to 2022. During his term, he served on the Ad Hoc Healthcare Center Study Committee, Economic Development Group, Ethics Board, Executive Committee, Expo Inc., Liaison Member, Finance Committee, Highway Committee, Human Services Board, Ice Center Board Liaison Member, Lakeland Care District Board, Loan Review Board, Local Emergency Planning Committee, Manitowoc County Library Advisory Committee, Planning and Park Commission, Special Healthcare Center Study Committee, and Transportation Coordinating Committee. He served until his recent resignation in July of 2025 before being excitedly appointed to Manitowoc County Treasurer. And whereas Jim Bry was an extraordinary leader who served the citizens of Manitowoc County in many capacities and contributed countless hours to improve the quality of life for all. His dedication even led him sometimes to miss family time and special events. He was the consummate politician in the best sense. He wanted to learn, to hear all sides, to do the best he could for everyone, all the time. Now, therefore, we, County Executive Bob Ziegelbauer and Manitowoc County Board Chairman Tyler Martell, along with the Manitowoc County Board of Supervisors, hereby commemorate the life and service of Jim Bry and express our condolences to the Bry family.
Thank you. I promise I'm not going to lecture. The English teacher in me is over for the day. I just wanted to say thank you. And, you know, Jim had a real hard time deciding to resign from his chair, because this means a lot to him. It's a surprise. Give me a sec. I wanted to remind you of something that I reminded him of lately, more often than ever. When you come here, drop your ego. You're here not to grandiose yourself or your political beliefs. You are here to serve the citizens of Manitowoc. I don't mean to sound lectury. I don't mean to be pointing fingers at anyone. But I feel like, from what I heard from him, sometimes y'all need to be reminded the same way I have to remind him. And since my political filter is now gone, here I am. I do appreciate this very much. I appreciate all of you who reached out in the last month. We're doing okay. Some days better than others. Thank you very much.
All right, 4-Hers, you want to join me up here? All right, a proclamation honoring 4-H Week. Whereas 4-H is one of the largest youth organizations in the United States, with more than 6 million youth involved in 4-H nationwide. And with 26,956 youth 4-H members and 5,528 adult volunteers in Wisconsin, and 396 youth 4-H members and 74 volunteers in Manitowoc County. And whereas 4-H is where young people explore, learn, and discover in a safe environment and find their true passions, gain confidence, and give back to the community. And whereas 4-H has been helping youth and adults learn, explore and discover in a safe environment and find their true passions, gain confidence, and give back to the community. And whereas 4-H has been helping youth and I'm looking at this in the same line. Whereas Manitowoc County youth are able to learn individually and together by participating in all kinds of 4-H activities, events, and projects through Extension Manitowoc County programs. Now, therefore, Manitowoc County Executive Ziegelbauer, County Board Chairman Tyler Martell, and the Manitowoc County Board of Supervisors hereby declare October 5th through 11th, 2025 as 4-H Week in Manitowoc County and urge the people of this community to become more aware of the special program and to join in recognizing the unique partnership between Manitowoc County and the University of Wisconsin-Madison Division of Extension.
Hello, I'm Katrina Pianic, the 4-H educator from Manitowoc County. First of all, I just want to say thank you for the continued support of 4-H in Manitowoc County. Tonight we are going to listen to Emma Salm kind of explain her journey along the art pathway for the projects. I've known Emma since she's started 4-H, and she has tried different project areas, but has really fallen in love with the art project. And so she's just going to explain some of the opportunities she had along the way.
Hello, I am Emma Solom, and this is my 4-H art team experience. So I first went to Art Beat in the Wisconsin Dells around 2017 when I was in 4th grade. We did projects like building things with recycled materials and hot glue, playing drums with buckets. This helped me meet more people with similar interests to me and inspired me to do more with 4-H. I connected with people I still talk to today, and these early years of art camp are the reason for me becoming an art ambassador. I first went to Madison for being on the art team my freshman year of high school. My mom introduced me to the 4-H art team, and I decided it would be a good opportunity for me. I signed up and was accepted to join, and I started off by going to the Wisconsin Dells and spending a few nights there in the cabins, meeting other teams like WLC and Drama Company. Then, me and the rest of the art team worked on coming up with themes for what we should make our annual art show. We had then got to Madison and set up our art show. We hung up several pieces of art that we made during our time in Madison and art that was made outside of it, and you were able to walk through it and it looked like it was guiding you. Then it was time to go home. I didn't learn anything new, like new art techniques, but I had met a lot of new people that made me feel like I was at home in the art team. I loved my first year so much that I just had to go back for more, so I signed up and was once again accepted. The art team was bigger now, so because some new people were accepted, and that those people were once delegates who were inspired by the art team and decided to join. This year we went back to the Wisconsin Dells and worked on another theme for our art show. We spent a few nights there again before leaving and going home before going back to Madison to set up the real art show. This year was special to me for several reasons. I met more new art team members, specifically Ella, who is still my friend to this day. I learned a new skill that I still use today called needle felting, and I got my own character to be the art team shirt design that year. Another reason why this year was particularly special is because I met my stepmom and siblings for the first time. I didn't even know them and was totally unaware that in a year they would be related to me. Those people are standing right there in the back. This was my first year of being on the 4-H state art team. Not only was I a member, but I was also an art ambassador. People looked up to me and the entire art team, and I was scared. We hosted another art show in an actual gallery this year, unlike the previous years, which were just held in the Madison College. This year, the art team was even bigger than before, with more delegates joining after seeing us the previous years. This year, I wasn't able to go back to the Wisconsin Dells due to being on a 5-day New York trip for band and choir, but I was still able to go to Madison and participate in the art show and being an ambassador. I did something I hadn't done before, which was try a new media. I had to make my main piece for the art show in one day, and I had tried painting. I was horrible at painting, yet I still did it, and I believe that this was the best piece I've ever done, and I'm still proud of it. This is a few photos. The top 3 is me at Art Beat with my mom, and then the bottom left is the art piece I was just speaking of. I had to make an art piece that symbolized something, and I symbolized my parents' divorce, dealing with how my mother tends to, take from my father, and my father always gave. The one on the right, that is my character that I made for the 2024 art team shirt. Did I have fun? Well, of course I did. I can't wait to go back to art team next year and have more fun than last time. Art team is special to me and always will be, and for as long as I can participate in it, I will. There are a lot of days where we always feud over who did more or less work, whose art should be where, and very emotional moments. But we are all a team, and more importantly, a family. Our leaders, Jeff and Stephanie, have made our team a home, and I've never felt better than with the art team and making art. I wouldn't trade anything for it. I'm excited for next year, and I hope that this presentation convinces you to join or consider checking out art team. Thank you. Yay!
All right, next we have a report from
Presentation up. Well, good afternoon or good evening, everybody. My name is David Wattenkamp. I'm the Soil and Water Director for Manitowoc County. I've been here approximately going on my 4th year, and it's been a rewarding experience. Part of that has been putting this plan together for the county. I don't know how many of you have been in this process or approved the previous plan that was done in 2015, 2016. But we put together a plan that builds upon that and hopefully makes some improvements. And Manitowoc County is at a rich heritage in conservation. I have a booklet here that was put together in 1967 showing a lot of the efforts to control and work with the natural resources in Manitowoc County. This was done in 1967. It was revised in 1978 with the help of Tom Ward, one of the previous conservationists for the county. So he had his hand in this many years ago. And then again, it's gone through many different renditions. The last one was adopted in 2015, done with Jerry Halverson and his crew. And like I said, we've built upon that. And now we have the next 10-year plan put together for 2026 through 2035. And this is a 150-page document, and I'm not quite sure how I can go through that in 10 minutes properly, but I'm going to make an effort to do so. So what I'll do is kind of go through a few of the slides, actually using the document as the presentation, so that's the best document to use. But first of all, I want to make some acknowledgments to the people that helped put this together. As you can see, I won't go through all the names, but we have many distinguished people from the Land Conservation Committee that are here as supervisors, and also we have some other community members that are on that committee. The support of the executive, Bob Ziegebauer, our existing 5 staff, the local advisory committee, which was made up of a bunch of different people from our community, professionals, professors, agency people, farmers, and the like, and also including input from the public and pictures in here from Carla Wells, one of the local photographers who helped illustrate some of the stuff in the document. As you can see, this is the table of contents. There's 5 chapters, and you're probably wondering what the purpose of this document is, and it is needed to designate cost share, staffing dollars, and to support ordinances and things like that in the county and conservation programs. Without having a plan on file, we can't ask for grant monies or staffing to help our county with our conservation resources. So with that, we put together this plan. It's under the statutes of Chapter 92, at Cap 50, at Cap 51. We also work with the Farmland Preservation Program and also NR 151, which is a DNR rule for runoff rules, which landowners, farmers need to follow as far as soil erosion, waste management, things like that. So those are kind of the rules that are promulgated that we have to follow. I guess our mission is that we are protecting our environment to enhance the quality of life for all citizens. And the process took about a year. Like I said, we developed a local advisory committee with 16 people. We had about 4 or 5 meetings. We had input from the public, developing a community survey that we had out. We sent out media, we had radio, we had apps on phones. We were at the county fair to try to get input from as many public participation as we could so that we would come up with good ideas on how to generate this plan and move forward. I just want to go through, I'm going to have trouble seeing this because I'm going blind, legally blind in my left eye, and I have trouble seeing in my right, so I really got to kind of squint down and see it stuff, so sorry for that. So this is just a general synopsis of the historical events in Manitowoc County that we've been keeping track of. The local advisory committee thought that we should continue that in this document to show what the Soil and Water Department has accomplished and some of the major things that we've accomplished over the years. And as you go through the document, if you had the time, each one of these is explained in more detail exactly what took place. One thing I want to kind of focus on is to focus on these gentlemen right here. There's been a lot of conservation employees over the last 30, 40 years, but these are exemplary, and I wanted to mention them in here. And that is Tom Ward. He was the previous Soil and Water Director for Manitowoc County. He served for 32 years here, putting a lot of effort into a lot of the conservation programs, the lakes associations, aquatic invasive species, you name it. Bruce Reister, 32 years. Tony Smith, 33 years, and then, of course, Jerry Halverson, 42 years of service. And all them together, over the past 40 years, have 140 years of conservation experience that we lost, and that was put together forth in all these documents, and we're trying to do it justice by putting together a good one now for you to review and react to. I'll just kind of quickly go through these chapters. Chapter 2 is pretty much explains the community survey and what we did. We sent out, like I said, the survey to as many people as we could to get information on what were the top priorities we should deal with in the next 10 years. And what we found out was that the conservation professionals and the community agreed with each other that we have certain things in the county that we need to deal with. The top three I want to go over with here is that, surprising or not, they thought the soil and water resources of the county were the most important. They thought the groundwater of Lake Michigan and the soil were the most important, and they thought that we should focus on groundwater contamination, surface water contamination, and enforcing the existing rules. So that's what we put forth in this document. And so the next chapters are kind of dedicated to addressing those concerns. Chapter 3 is kind of the nuts and bolts of the whole plan. It pretty much defines what our resources are in the county. So we have 5 different parameters that we wanted to work with. As you can see on the board, we have the geology and climate, we have water quality, soil quality, agriculture, and also the woodlands and natural areas that we wanted to address. We'll go into more detail. I'll kind of go through a few of these that I think were things that we want to touch on. I don't want you to just come up here and spout off a few things and then have you approve a plan that you're really not in favor of or have a little bit of information on if you didn't have time to go through it. So I want to touch base on a few of these things just so you have a little bit of nuts and bolts of what's in it. Like I said, there's a lot of pages in here. But one of the major things we want to work on is I don't know if any of you have heard of it, is the Northeast TMDL. And that's the total maximum daily load. And that's a program that the DNR put together, a large program to assess the soil erosion and phosphorus runoff in the county. And what they did is, as you can see on this map here, they tested a lot of the watersheds in the county. They ran a model to figure out what nutrients and runoff was coming off of the landscape. and then they checked that with water quality data that they had on water quality monitoring stations, and also doing tests of the water to see that the model was giving what the water quality tests were. And what they did is they came up with this model of where we need to focus our efforts on for reducing phosphorus and sediment in the county. You can see on here, this is Manitowoc County, and as the darker areas show where the greatest phosphorus runoff is and soil erosion is. So those are our priority zones. We're going to start there and work our way down. As you can see, many of the darker areas are in the southeast, southwest part of the county, and then the north part, there's more sandy soils, more karst and things like that, so we have more groundwater infiltration, so we have more groundwater problems. And in the lower part of the county, we have more clays, and because more of the water runs off, we have more surface water problems. So we have a dual role there in the county to try to address those issues. That's a huge priority. The other thing I want to talk about is the water resources in Manitowoc County. We have about 927 miles of streams. We have over 109 lakes. And of that, as you can see on this list, 65 of them are impaired. So that shows that we have a lot of work to do. As you can see, in 2014, there were 38 of them listed as impaired, and now there's 65. You might think that's because water quality is getting worse, but it's just because of these data sets that we have. They're testing more waters, and they're finding out that there's actually more widespread impairments in the streams, so they're getting listed more. But it just shows that we have work to do. Over the last 30 years, Manitowoc County has made a concerted effort to work with nitrates. Some of you may have even participated in that, getting your wells tested or monitored. And as you know, nitrates are fertilizers. When you over-apply fertilizers to the landscape, I just had mentioned in that previous slide where you showed the upper areas of the county where you have karst, shallow soils, sandier soils. That's where you have the groundwater issues, and then lower down you have surface water. Nitrates can have health impacts, and also when you have nitrates getting into groundwater, you can also have other contaminants getting into groundwater. So if you do have high nitrates, we tell people to test their wells for other chemicals, bacteria, those other things. So we work with landowners when we have those issues. And here is a map of the data over the last 30 years. As you can see, like I had mentioned, in the north central part of the county, we have more groundwater nitrate contamination, and then the blue areas down to the south, you have more surface runoff. So that just a little tidbit on the past 30 years and where we're going, and the community survey and the professionals believe that that was an important thing that we continue to do, and that was the #1 priority, is working on groundwater for our health. Just like to touch a little bit on agriculture, because they're so important. Agriculture, the farmers are so important to us, our economy, and also in working with each other to improve, soil and water resources in Manitowoc County. Just want to bring up a little information here. Just a little background on some of we have 193,000 acres of cropland in Manitowoc County. About 155,000 are currently in nutrient management plans. As you can see on this map, that orange area, those are the fields that our staff monitor and track every year to see that landowners are applying waste properly, nutrients, soil runoff, that sort of thing is controlled. We also have the most CAFOs in the state. So with that rich heritage of farming, we also have a lot of large farms, and they're very productive, very very beneficial to our economy. But with that becomes, there are negatives to that. And the role of this department is to work with farmers to control some of those negative effects. So we also have 32 livestock facility licenses in the county, which is the most in the state as well. So we have a big part of our workload is working with the larger farms and making sure that we have laws, regulations, ordinances in place that are proactive, not reactive to things when things take place with erosion, groundwater problems. Also extrapolating that to community interests and getting along with each other. So Chapter 4, we put all the priorities together for this. I just wanted to go through you. We have 9 different priorities that were set up. We have our local ordinances, or Chapter 19, 26, 27, and 28. Those we deal with on a daily basis with permitting. We have the state agricultural performance standards. We have the Farmland Preservation Program. We have surface water standards that we deal with. Farmland Preservation Program. We work on soil health management practices, structural practices like installing waste storage facilities according to ordinances, putting in wascobs, wetlands, tree plantings, buffers on streams, grass waterways, sediment basins, cover crops, you name the gamut. Along with that becomes a lot of educational outreach and making sure we reach producers and know what kind of resources are out there to implement practices. And also keeping our staff and our programs up to date, making sure we're technically savvy. We have professionals that can deal with new technologies and that sort of thing. And we also have to deal with monitoring and giving updates to the state on our progress, and also with the Land Conservation Committee. Last year, I just want to quick go over Chapter 5, which is the staffing, which some of you might be the most interested in, is what is this going to cost? So, after looking at all these parameters, figuring out how much time it was going to take to do it, we go through each one of those 9 priorities. This one happens to be the ordinances. We figure out what staff's going to do it, how many staff is going to be needed to do it, how many hours it's going to take, and come up with a cost. We tabulate that all to the back end of this document so that we can provide this to you when making decisions on this land and water plan and continued support. I have to look down here again, but based on all the different priorities that were set forth in this plan by working with the local advisory committee and also being reviewed by the Land Conservation Committee, we figured there was about 11,940 hours it was going to take per year to implement this plan. We only have 5.5 staff, so we have 10,725 hours actually available throughout the year, and at that cost it would be around $600,000 per year. Because we're short-staffed a little bit, this number that you see here, cost deficit, that's essentially, we could actually use another half to full person in our department to make sure we met all these goals. But I'm more of a conservative person, and I don't want to burden the community or the taxpayers with any more than you have to. And I think that slow and steady wins the race, and if we can keep with your continued support and have these plans workable, I think that we can continue to do that. So with that, I ask if you have any questions, and if there's anything you want to go back to, I have the whole document here to kind of go through. Is there anybody have any questions about anything?
I received the link that had that document. Is that link still active? It's a Google Docs.
It's an active link, so and it's constantly progressing as people make suggestions. We're making updates to it all the time. Nothing major will be changed if you approve this plan. But if there's like grammatical errors or there's an error in like a number or something, we would like to be able to keep modifying it to make sure it's accurate and there's nothing wrong in there.
Sent to all the county board members.
It was sent to the local advisory committee, it was sent to the LCC, and it was sent about a month ago to all the county board members, and then the clerk had sent it out again for this meeting to have it reviewed. Any other questions on the land and water plan?
How do you evaluate yourself that you're following through with the plan throughout the year?
The question was, how do we follow and monitor ourselves to see if we're following through with the plan? Like I said, this is essentially the Bible, but on a yearly basis, we put together an annual work plan. We share that with the Land Conservation Committee, and then we also share that with the Department of Ag and Consumer Protection, and they're one of the big entities that give about 40% of our staffing dollars. I showed that $600,000 figure. About 40 to 45% of that cost is actually comes from the state, and then the rest is remained upon levy. But through those annual work plans, we show what we plan to do. It needs to meet what's in here based on those priorities that we set. And then every year it's updated, and we go through it, and we describe why we met it or why we didn't meet it. A lot of times it might be weather related, it might be we don't have enough cost sharing to implement it, it might be things changed in the landscape. There may be different resource concerns that we need to address halfway through the plan that might negate us having to maybe not do a certain part of it, so that all plays into it.
Okay, that will take us into public comment. So members of the public are invited to speak for up to 3 minutes on any matters pertaining to the county. Mr. Thyrell.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Jim Tyrell, 4123 County Road B, Manitowoc, Wisconsin, 54214. Jessica passed out pictures of a driveway on my property. And if anybody took a look at it, well, I was in court with it a week ago Wednesday, Manitowoc County versus me, which they claimed there was no driveway there, and I got a picture of it in 2000 when I got my building permits for my new garage. I got the building permits from the town of Manitowoc, from the county of Manitowoc County. I got all the inspections done, cement, everything was inspected, everything passed but the driveway. I drove on that driveway, I bought the property in 1999, and I drove on that driveway for 26 years. Mr. Banky, put your head up. Don't put your head on the desk when I'm talking.
Yep. Please don't address anybody except the chair.
I had everything. Now I got no access to my property, my pond, my woods, my septic tank, my well. There is no access. That driveway was put in by Manitowoc County Highway Department before 1999. When I bought the property, I paid for that driveway. So the court went Manitowoc County's way because it was a kangaroo court, all in favor of Manitowoc County because it was in the county, which I'm taking federal now. It's going to cost the county lots of money. So I got no access to that property to do anything. I can't even go to my garage or nothing in Manitowoc County. It took them 3 years, the highway department, to fix the road in front of my house, which the neighbors complained, everybody complained. And now they're taking my driveway out in 30 days. So I don't understand if they speed it up or what happened. So the judge ended up, I got a $31,800 fine. And I gotta remove the driveway. If I don't remove it, they're gonna charge me to remove it. Well, I didn't put it in, so I'm not removing it. So whatever the county wants to do, it will be going to federal court and it will be costing lots of money for this county. And they've got no rainy day fund no more, and I don't either. But I'm gonna spend everything I got. I don't care if I lose my house. So that's the way it's gonna go. Thank you much.
Thank you. Is there anybody else wishing to speak tonight? Anybody else interested in public comment? For a third and final time, public comment. All right, seeing none, we'll close public comment, and that will take us to the consent agenda. Supervisors, you've had the opportunity to review the consent agenda. Are there any items that you would like to see removed for special consideration? Any items that you would like to see removed? Last call for the consent agenda. All right, seeing none, I would look for a motion to approve the consent agenda. Motion by Supervisor Engelbrecht, second by Supervisor Benke, and the clerk will conduct the vote.
Supervisors will now vote on the consent agenda.
And the consent agenda is approved. That will take us to our committee reports. We'll start with the Aging and Disability Board. Supervisor Hacker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've just been asked to report that open enrollment is about to begin October 15th, where the ADRC would assist people in making decisions regarding their next year's health care decisions. And so people are free to contact the ADRC for that service. I also wish to add that the ADRC is in dire need of volunteers for their food program. Both people would be willing to volunteer to work any amount of time at all in the kitchen, and volunteer drivers for our delivered meals programs. We've recently had a few snowbirds fly back south for the winter, and with hunting season on the calendar, Wisconsin hunters disappear into the woods for some time, and we've lost a handful of our volunteers to those two things, and are asking for anyone who on this board who can help to identify people who would volunteer any amount of time at all. Please contact me or the ADRC of the Lakeshore. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Next, we have the Board of Health. Supervisor Metzger.
I have no report. We will meet October 9th at 5 p.m. at the Health Department. Thank you.
Thank you. Criminal Justice Coordinating Council. Supervisor Falkowski.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The meeting of the Manitowoc County Criminal Justice Coordinating Council was September 3rd. There was a moment of silence for passing of the county member, Cindy Oswald. Angela Lindgren was clerk of court was introduced. The report on drug court update from Amanda Kegel reported that the annual TAD grant has been awarded. The status of participants are now 14 new participants, and the next graduation is September 17th. Drug court is now being live streamed. Check with Amanda for the ULR or how to connect. Access to court will have a meeting later this month. Youth intervention reported from Stacy Lavinia that the juvenile policies have been approved and published, and they are now part of the local rules. There were 18 referrals thus far this 2025. 2 referrals for 17-year-olds were rejected, but the remaining 16 were referred to the program. Miscellaneous topics were discussed. The procedure to fill the citizen representative position And also, our meeting frequency will be changed to, and is determined to be changed to being quarterly. The next CGC council meeting is scheduled for November 5th at the CNT building. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's the end of my report.
Thank you. Next is the executive committee. Excuse me, I have nothing for executive committee, but I am going to bring forward our miscellaneous item because it's at the end of our agenda, and I see that we have our candidate treasurer in the audience, and I want to respect her and her family's time. So a little bit, I know some people have asked me a little bit about the process for appointing our treasurer. Maybe unfortunately, the second time around, there was a lot of interest in the treasurer position, and I think we were very lucky to find the candidate that I bring forward for you tonight, Melissa McCulley. She currently works in Manitowoc County in the Human Services Department and previously served as our deputy treasurer. And I'm sure as you've learned in conversations regarding the treasurer's office in recent weeks, it's been getting a lot of attention that it's an office that is a very difficult job. It needs somebody who's experienced, and I think Melissa will be ready on day one. So I sent you all a letter explaining her qualifications, and I would ask that you approve that nomination. So I'll make the motion to fill the treasurer position. Second by Supervisor Marish. Is there any discussion on the appointment? All right, seeing none, the clerk will conduct the vote.
Supervisors will now vote on the resolution appointing Melissa McCulley to fill the unexpired term of the current county treasurer.
All right, congratulations, Ms. McCulley, Treasurer McCulley. And I'll just invite our new treasurer up to make a few comments and introduce herself, so that way when you see her walking around the courthouse, you know who she is.
Oh, a few familiar faces anyway. So I am Melissa McCulley. Thank you so much for the vote. Thank you, Chairman Martell and supervisors, for the faith and trusting in me for this new adventure. I was going to say challenge, but my friend said it's your next new adventure, so I'm going to roll with adventure. It's big shoes to fill. It is. I said I'm going in eyes wide open. After serving as the deputy for 4 years, I know what it holds. There's a lot of challenging tasks, and it's a multifaceted, it's just moving. People can walk by and you think, oh, they're just sitting in there, they're not really doing anything, but there is always something going on. And Executive Zigglebarrow had reached out a few weeks ago to see if I could help out in the interim, and I've been over there for the past few weeks, a couple days a week, alongside with my human services job. And I've been trying to keep the office afloat along with former treasurer Amy Koshin. So I'm not sure if you're aware that she's been working in there for about the past 2 months, along with our town of Two Rivers treasurer and clerk Bonnie Tim. So they integral role in keeping that door open and keeping things moving. And then we just recently hired our new deputy treasurer, Elizabeth Pohl, last week. So she started and she hit the ground running. I think she and I are going to make a great team, and I'm excited for that. So I come to you with 29 years, and I'm proud to say 29 years of serving with county government. I've got a long ways to go to catch up with Jerry Halverson with 42 years, I think, but I've got a lot to go, and I'm looking forward to serving Manitowoc County. So I invite all of you, if you're ever in the courthouse in the area, stop in, say hi to us, meet the new deputy, and don't forget to pay your taxes. Thank you so much again.
Thank you, Melissa, and I echo the thanks that you gave for Amy Koshin and Bonnie Tim, who I know have been stepping up to help in that office. And I also just want to thank our personnel director, Chris Eisenschink, because without her helping me keep all of the applications and letters of interest organized and speaking with candidates and organizing interviews, my job would have been a lot more difficult, so I really appreciate her help as well. Okay, thank you for the agenda around. You're welcome to stay, of course, but if you wanted to leave, I wanted to give you the opportunity. Next, we have the Expo Ice Center Board. Supervisor Banky.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We had a very good fair this year. We were down a little bit in attendance, but looking at it compared to last year, we had a record year last year, so real good numbers compared to last year. Just wanted to just make a mention, thanks to Supervisor Klein for the hours of volunteerism that he gave. Nothing but good comments from the people where he was volunteering at, and really appreciate his help. There are groups getting together now. The fair is over, but we're working on next year's fair. Committees are getting together, working groups are getting together, looking, reviewing the things that were good, looking at the things we may improve on. So we are active already, moving into the 2026 fair, and that concludes my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Did I see that you're looking for additional Expo Ice Center board members? And if somebody's interested, where should they look for information?
Be on the website.
The county website. Okay, thank you. That takes us to Finance Committee. Supervisor Hanson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Finance Committee met last week ago Monday. Welcome Supervisor Grambo to the committee. Supervisor Shimalonis moved from second chair to vice chair of the committee, and Supervisor Hacker was elected as the second vice chair with the committee. So we appreciate those people taking those responsibilities. You already approved two of the claims against the county. Just a word, if you're driving in an area where there's construction, be careful, because there may be hot tar that's not dry, there may be other stones and things in the road, and that can cause damage, and our insurance company says we won't pay for it, so that'll all be worked out in the end, but just be careful in those situations. There's road construction. When road construction is going on, take your time, and you won't be doing claims against the county for that. We also discussed the budget a little bit. I don't know if everybody got the handout that was on my desk tonight, but take a look at that, and that'll explain that budget process to you as we get deeper and deeper into this. There are some large expenses this year coming up, one of them being the Sheriff's Department and body cams, and that will be a discussion that we will have. So keep that in mind and start reading up on some of that information that you got, because again, that is a large expense in our budget that we will have to make the right decision on. So take care of that. Other than that, we are meeting on the 13th of October at 4:30 in the administration building.
Thank you. Highway Committee, Supervisor Banky.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We met September 9th. We talked about a project on County LS, southern portion of the county. It's just more of a rural road safety program. There's a 90% federal cost share on that program, looking at rumble strips, pavement, asphalt improvement, signage, and different things. Greg Rodiget brought us up to speed on that. We also talked about the interchange on I-43 and V in Francis Creek area there. Very busy area with heavy trucks and traffic in that area, looking to address some of the bad cement area there. So we have some different bids going out there, finding out what the cost of some of that is on that project. So look for that project coming in the future. Proposed 2026 budget. Greg Rodiget talked about the things that we are dealing with in highway, talking about not only the amount of asphalt that we're having to put down in road improvement and maintenance, but also talking about personnel, talking about being able to keep workers, every county in the state is having the same problem. So it's something that we're going to have to deal with in order to keep a fleet of employees to be able to plow that snow and fix roads in Manitowoc County. So that will be a challenge. We also got an update on the airport budget with not a lot going on there compared. The Bryan building, Commissioner Grodiget updated the committee. The footings are in place. The wall forms, working on the rebar and placing wall forms. And we will meet again October 14th at 4 o'clock, and that concludes my report, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Land Conservation Committee and UW... Oh, I'm sorry, Human Services Board. I was just crossing that out as I wrote it. Human Services Board, Supervisor Klein.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Human Services Board meeting took place on Thursday, August 28th at 4:15 in the conference room at Human Services Department. Special public meeting was held at 4 p.m. with no participation from the public. The meeting was adjourned and the Human Services Board meeting was called to order. First topic on the agenda was the election of Human Services Board Chairman. Supervisor Klein was elected as Chairman. As it is budget season, it seemed appropriate to focus our education topic on financial and budget reports by Jessica Huss and Melissa Diener. Nuances of the budget were covered as the preparation of fiscal 2026 was being generated. Unpredictable variables were presented as they related to the cost of mental health cases that require in-house treatment at the Winnebago facility at a daily cost of $2,400 a day, and how quickly that kind of daily charge can impact forecasting for each budget season. We'll keep a close eye on this budget breaker as each month unfolds. Our next meeting will be on September 25th at 4:15 in the Human Services Department conference room. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Land Conservation Committee and UW Extension Education Agriculture Committee, Supervisor Ryan Phipps.
Thank you, Chairman Martell. The Extension Committee meeting was on August 21st. Pretty much business as usual, with an exception of there's going to be some reduced federal funding. So the FoodWise program is looking for alternative sources of funding. That's a piece to the Extension Committee that involves essentially education about healthy eating and exercise. So they're a little concerned about where the federal funding gaps will be, but they're still kind of working through that. There's really, they don't know for certain, but the director is working on that, trying to fill in some of those gaps for next year. That's kind of the main take from the UW Extension Committee meeting. And then we kind of went into our land conservation meeting. We had some approvals on cost sharing. We talked a little about the grant and updating. We're building up to the resolution that I'm going to present shortly here. I just want to say that this management plan isn't perfect, but it's a good plan. There's pieces that I agree with, and then there's pieces that I would like to adjust, remove, or compromise. But all in all, it's a good plan. It's not perfect. But the way I look at stuff like this is it's hard to project a year from now, let alone 10. So we have to have a little bit of grace in navigating this as a whole on all sides. And we also have a privilege to serve the county. We also have a responsibility in conservation. So putting that together, I want to present the resolution. I want to make a motion to approve the resolution. It's resolution 2025-2026-117, the Manitowoc County 10-year Land and Water Resource Management Plan. So I make a motion to approve that.
All right, there's a motion and a second by Supervisor Shiesel. Any discussion? Seeing none, the clerk will conduct the vote.
Supervisors will now vote on the resolution approving the 2026-2035 Land and Water Resource Management Plan.
And the resolution is approved. Anything else?
That'll be the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Personnel, Supervisor Marsh.
Thank you. Our committee met on September 2nd. We approved travel lodging reimbursement, discussed the recruitment for the highway department, and our next meeting is October 7th. And that ends my report.
Thank you. Planning and Park Commission, Supervisor Falkowski.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Planning and Park Commission met on August 25th. On our docket, it included 2 rezone hearings, 1 site review plan, plus the department fee schedule recommendations, and finally the election of officers. Finishing with procedural duties, we continued with the agenda. The Commission acted on the rezone request of the following parcels: Paul G. Bertler, Irrevocable Trust from Mishigat, Town of Mishigat, Roberta and Edwin Hatley from the Town of Kossuth. As under our procedures, the parcels were examined under rezone criteria, plus hearing any testimony and documents of support for each applicant, plus including them into the record. Following any queries from the commissioners, we concluded each individual request by determining or approval by the commission. In these cases, all were approved unanimously. These results are officially finalized on the consent agenda. Next, discussion and possible acceptance of the industrial site plan review of County Vision's building for raising and construction. It was examined and later discussed before approval. Finally, there was an annual item for discussion, which is the Planning and Zoning Department's fee schedule for 2026. After deliberation, a motion proposed for the fee schedule with a 3% increase passed by a majority. And lastly, the election of officers. The current officers were elected by unanimous consent to continue in their responsibilities: Ms. Mink, Supervisor Zimmer, and myself. Our next commission meeting is tentatively scheduled for Monday, October 27th. Advisory committee starts at 3:30 and the hearing starts at 4. That is the end of my report. Moving right into public safety. Manitowoc County Public Safety Committee met on September 10th. No questions from the committee members about the monthly reports. At our next meeting, we will be getting reports and analysis from Supervisor Jadowski about corrections and a report from Supervisor Gramble about the coroner's budget. No public comment that day. To be determined is the department budget request meetings in October. On our agenda was the District Attorney, Jacqueline LeBray. The District Attorney discussed the new approved ADA positions for her office. Both attorneys will be starting before the end of 2025. With the addition of the 2 new positions, the office has space issues to be accommodating additional staff. A space study from 2022 was referred to, but needs to be updated since their office square footage was lost. Some of their office's square footage was lost during the HVAC remodel. Major cases were discussed. They revolved around current and upcoming cases. One drug case involved a total weight of 8,511 grams of carfentanil. That's about 18 plus pounds. And carfentanil is a synthetic opioid and was formed in pills. Now consider 2 milligrams, which is, if you take a salt shaker and spill 10 grains of salt, that's 2 grams, and that amount of carfentanil would kill about 4.2 million people. That's the overdose rate. Now, that was one case. Another case actually involved 43 pounds of fentanyl pills, and all these apprehensions is a credit to law enforcement for their interdiction and for our prosecutors for filing. Last year, felony cases in a department for the district attorney handled 830 felony cases, 492 misdemeanor cases, 742 criminal traffic cases, and 93 juvenile cases. The district attorney informed the committee that the budget money for the investigator has been kept. At this time, a retired law officer is assisting the district attorney's office in a limited capacity, sharing him with the sheriff's department. The investigator is assigned to a variety of tasks, including witness locations, trial preparation, and investigation of issues after the case has been filed. We thank District Attorney LeBray for being the lead prosecutor for the office and the department's tireless effort for the county. Our next meeting will be October 8th at 5 p.m., and this will be with a legislative briefing from Senator Jock, which is the Senate Judiciary and Public Safety Committee, and also the Assembly Representative Tussler, which is he is the chair on Judicial Committee for the Assembly. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That is the end of my report.
Thank you. Public Works Committee, Supervisor Sikowitz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Public Works Committee met on Wednesday, September 10th. In the Solid Waste and Recycling Division, Director Bright reported on the state of the current markets for recyclables and the revenues received to date, and that the market prices for recyclables remain low for the year. We approved funding to not exceed $500 for the Clean Sweep volunteer meal. In the Buildings and Grounds Division, Director Bright updated the committee on the status of the 2025 capital projects that have started and are underway. We received a report on the courthouse windows replacement and HVAC system upgrade project and approved the latest pay request from Hammond Construction for this project. This project is all but finished, with punch list and closeout documents remaining. The project is coming in on time and on budget, and is a dramatic improvement in the look and performance of the building. In the Communications Division, we reviewed current projects being undertaken for the public safety radio system and were updated on activities that the communications team is working on. In the IT Division Director Callista updated the committee on the status of active projects and the latest cybersecurity reports, as well as the monthly tickets for IT service. In the Expo Division, we reviewed the September calendar of events, the capital projects for 2025, and the monthly financial reports. We also received a report on the 2025 County Fair. Although the gate attendance was down slightly from last year by 3,100 people, it ended up being 44,448 at the gate. Our revenue was up by roughly $155,000, which ended up being $630,000. The fair was again a great success. The next meeting of the Public Works Committee will be held on Wednesday, October 8th, and that concludes my report.
Thank you. Transportation Coordinating Committee, Supervisor Hacker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next meeting of the Transportation Coordinating Committee is scheduled for October 29th, and that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. I just have a couple of announcements. Since it is budget time, I believe it's on the county website, or what we originally scheduled for our the budget presentation meeting. It was set to be on October 14th. However, we are moving that to October 7th. Otherwise, it would only leave us with a little bit over 2 weeks to consider the budget. So we're moving that to October 7th. That'll be at 6 o'clock for the budget meeting. And then we'll be having for the budget presentation, we'll be having our budget vote and consideration on November 4th. So October 7th is our next meeting. And then November 4th will be the meeting in November where we can consider the budget. Oh, we also meet October 27th for our regular meeting. Can't forget the regular meeting. Okay. Any other announcements? Yes, Supervisor Benke.
Rephrase that for our meeting.
So we are meeting on October 7th to have the budget presented. We're meeting on October 27th for our regular meeting, and November 4th for our consideration of the budget. Any other announcements? Otherwise, I'd look for a motion to adjourn. Motion by Supervisor Niles, second by Supervisor Hanson. We're adjourned.